Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is having a great Monday morning. I'm going to just set up my laptop really quick and then we can get started so that I can see who is commenting on our feed. So, all right, happy day after Mother's Day. I hope everybody had a good Mother's Day. If you're a mom figure, which is very important, if you're a dog mom, cat mom, taking care of the neighborhood kind of mom, or any other maternal figure in your life, I hope you had a great Sunday. The weather was wonderful. I got, my kids are grown and those of you that have little kids and it's a little stressful, uh, just let you know it does go as fast as everybody says it does. When I was had the kids that were little, definitely, uh, certainly, we were able to take those times and those moments and just really reflect on it as I'm reflecting right now and really cherish them. And the best we did to cherish all those special moments, it still went by extremely fast. So, and those that help out, those are grandparents, just anybody out there, certainly hope you had a very good Mother's Day. Um, and speaking of Mother's Day and children, I have my NIU mug, and you want to say, why do I have my NIU mug? Well, as we mentioned, Military Spouses Day, and my daughter is going to NIU, military spouse, and working really hard on a whole bunch of things. So, NIU is now done for this session, and thought I would have my NIU mug to showcase that my daughter's a military spouse. As we mentioned, military spouses was last week on the 9th. And just in her completion of a successful semester, she gets the mug of the day today. So congratulations to everybody that's out there trying to do their best in this that time that we have and do their best with your kids in the time that you have with them. So, what is in the news? If you missed it last week, which you might have, might not have, Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky is retiring. And I have met Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky many times, and she is just a wonderful individual, a lifelong champion for working and middle class families. Believe it or not, speaking of Mother's Day, she began her advocacy as a young housewife, leading the successful campaign to require expiration dates on food products, including baby food and formula. So, every time you check that expiration date on the product that you're buying in your grocery store, you can thank now Congressman Chakowski, but she advocated for that way beyond being a congressman, way beyond being an elected official, just as a motivated housewife wanting to make sure that the products she was giving her family was safe and edible and not expired. And can you believe it that she had to fight to get expiration dates on things such as baby food and baby formula? Really quite amazing. She it was a congressman, but believe it or not, in 1998 she served 8 years in the Illinois General Assembly. She then was elected to represent the Illinois Ninth Congressional District. She is in her 10th term, and as I said, she is retiring, and she has rose to the Illinois or to House Democratic leadership as the senior deputy whip. So certainly she's done a lot in her time in Congress. She was looking to be the key individual with regards to the affordable quality health care for all, the Affordable Care Act that she helped pass to establish that health care is a right and not a privilege. And she certainly has been a champion for values like women's rights, comprehensive immigration reform, and looking at making sure that our streets are safe from, in her bio, dangerous weapons of war. And she also co chairs the Democratic Seniors Task Force, which focuses on addressing the needs of older Americans. Congresswoman Schakowsky is a Jewish congressman, and she has a deep personal connection to the state of Israel. She consistently voted for measures to assure security. She grew up in the 9th District and returns home every weekend to meet with individual constituents, businesses, labor leaders, community organizations, and her 2 dogs, Franklin and Eleanor. So she currently lives in Evanston. She has 3 wonderful children and 6 extraordinarily great grandchildren. And she graduated from the University of Illinois. So there you go, Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. We wish her a wonderful retirement. She has done a great and amazing things for all of us. And I am always, every time I see an expiration date, I say, Congresswoman Schakowsky did that before she was even a congresswoman. So everybody can make a difference in our community. And last week, if you didn't notice on the House floor, was Bacon Day. Gotta love Bacon Day. Those that eat bacon, of course. Those that don't eat bacon can still appreciate folks that do like bacon. It certainly is quite the thing, and you can make. I'm finding there's so much with bacon in it. People put bacon in the most interesting things. But last week was Bacon Day, and the Illinois pork producers were on hand. So, and then just so that you know, this Saturday, the 3rd Saturday in May, is Armed Forces Day, honoring those who are currently serving in our armed forces today. So the last Monday in May is Memorial Day, and that's honoring those who died while serving. So those are 2 very important dates this Saturday coming up, and the last Monday in May. Now, Veterans Day is the 11th day of November, and that's honoring those who have served. So certainly just wanted to point that out. This Saturday is Armed Forces Day. Motorcycle awareness. So this weekend, first responders and community members, they participated in Motorcycle Awareness Day events in both Kane and DuPage counties. I normally go to this event every single year. This year I was not able to attend, but they're just reminders of motorcycle safety, and we just need to share the road. We have Motorcycle Awareness Day, and May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, and I have that resolution in the Illinois House right now. But just take a moment to double check, look at blind spots, intersections. Motorcycles are sometimes harder to see. And I know a lot of people like to say, well, why do they keep riding like in between the cars and stuff? And that's because a lot of motorcycles are air cooled. And so if they're not getting air moving through the engine, they could overheat. So just give them a little bit of grace, and make sure that you look out for motorcycles. If you are a motorcycle rider, remember wearing helmets, staying visible, following safe riding practices. So thank you all that came out and promoted. And then last week, just a little, it was a tough decision this morning because I have my Cats mug from 10 years ago when the Paramount performed Cats. I believe it was in 2014. Last week I attended Cats again. It's a reboot. It's completely different than the one that was there 10 years ago, as you would probably expect. And it is just a lot of fun, great performance. So if you haven't seen Cats at the Paramount, I highly recommend it. Certainly it's worth it. And then what happens on the Capitol last week? A lot of groups were there. Equality Illinois was there. They were advocating for bills for the LGBTQ plus community. They had their advocacy day, looking to ensure that everybody in Illinois is protected. And then Teamsters Local 916 was there, got to talk to them. They were there for their advocacy day as well. Teamsters are, and all individuals in the labor force, they look out for working families, and looking at, for them, drivers, mechanics, warehouse workers, and others they were advocating for in their advocacy day. And then the American Cancer Society had their advocacy day. It was a little bit of a unique one. It's Suits and Sneakers Day. So raising awareness about cancer prevention, supporting survivors, and honoring the lives lost. Suits and Sneakers Day is a symbolic gesture, but cancer affects all of us in one way, shape, or another. 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. It's the second leading cause of death. So certainly, but 40% of cancer can be prevented through lifestyle changes, such as healthy eating, physical fitness, avoiding tobacco. So prevention and treatment are so important with regards to funding cancer treatment. So a couple bills in the news, just so that you so that you know what's going on. So in February, Governor Pritzker signed a law. It was House Bill 4144. It's now Public Act 103-1065, better known as Karina's Law. They set the law to go into effect on Sunday, which was Mother's Day. So it specifies that law enforcement are required to remove firearms from an alleged abuser's home within 96 hours of a court-granted order of protection. So individuals up to this bill, the option was there for someone to choose a firearm remedy. So people were checking a box, but there's no procedure in place. So now there's a procedure in place for law enforcement to follow through in case there is an abuser to remove the guns from the house. Believe it or not, murder by a significant other or a domestic violent situation is it's more common than we'd all like to acknowledge. But certainly, Karina's Law now sets up a system after Karina, who was killed, unfortunately, by her partner, and the bill is named on her behalf. Senator Belt has an interesting bill. Just thought you'd like to know this. So his bill, a completely different subject, but he passed a measure to stop gym and fitness centers from canceling or changing benefits of a promised lifetime membership. Now, if you get a lifetime membership to a gym, awesome. So they sell these lifetime memberships, and then you get swapped out by other kind of subscriptions and memberships, and certainly it's a price hike that was a promised rate. So the legislation makes sure gyms and fitness centers are honest with their members when they sell you a lifetime fitness membership. Lifetime membership price, as they advertise, needs to be adhered to. So that's a bill from Senator Belt that's being considered. And then another Senate bill that we are looking at that's passed out of the Senate on Thursday. So Senate Bill 314. If you remember, we talked about how last week was deadline week, but some bills got extensions, and this was one of them. So it's a 340B drug discount program. Other states have these programs in place, and what it does is it prevents pharmaceutical manufacturers from restricting which providers get the steep drug discounts allowed for the federal 340, 340B legislation. So certainly this is, of course, favoritism, and we certainly want to make sure that the drug makers give discounts to all the pharmacies that contract with hospitals and federally qualified health centers under the 340, 340B program. So numerous pharmaceutical manufacturers have restricted the scope of the federally mandated discounts to providers' contractual pharmacies. So that would mean that, again, this is the squeezing out of small independent pharmacies. Unfortunately, Kingsway Pharmacy, right next to my office, closed down. The CVS pharmacy across the street from my office has changed and closed down. And this is where pharmaceutical manufacturers they only give the discounts to their contracted pharmacies and not the pharmacy that the individual, the consumer, is requesting. So we're establishing rules, and again, there are similar bills out there to state that you can't pick and choose winners. Like you can't pick and choose. You need to be able to allow these federally mandated discounts to all pharmacies. And it's something that's really important and the state is working on. Similar to what I talked about before, but not inclusive, is a bill by Senator Gloria Hilton. And if an individual experiences a sexual assault, survivors, um, they get a voucher from the hospital, and the voucher is valid for 90 days from the date of their hospital visit, and it can be used to cover costs such as ambulance ride, medical forensic or laboratory services, pharmacy expenses, follow-up healthcare treatment, but it didn't provide for transportation. And an individual was taken to the hospital by an ambulance and might not have somebody to be able to call, would be very, very struggling to find a way to get home. So this voucher would expand the list of eligible expenses to cover rideshare or taxi services to return home or to transfer a hospital or, to reach a shelter. So it follows recommendations. We did do the Illinois Sexual Assault Medical Forensic Services Implementation Task Force, very long title, but gave recommendations, and this is one of the recommendations that came from that task force. So that again passed the Senate on Thursday, coming over to the House this week. So then finally, this is not legislation, but it's related to legislation. The Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board, ILETSB, announced the approval of military reciprocity for service members transitioning into civilian law enforcement careers. So this is great. Illinois is joining 18 other states in supporting the veterans and active duty service members by recognizing military training and experience in the law enforcement certification process. So, of course, it's Military Appreciation Month. This announcement comes during Military Appreciation Month. However, it's part of this ongoing effort by Illinois to match up military training and civilian jobs so that our veterans, if they do get honorably discharged out of the military, they can head right into a career. So it's a streamlined process for individuals with military experience to pursue careers in civilian law enforcement. So what does that mean? A new policy, like I said, the change as military police were previously ineligible for certification reciprocity, requiring them to complete the full 640-hour basic law enforcement academy, regardless of their extensive Department of Defense training and operational experience. However, now eligible veterans will be able to request a certification waiver, just as applicants from other states and federal agencies currently can. So it's an approach by Illinois to serve as a beacon for other states. So certainly recognizing the training of military police in Illinois not only honors their service, but also addresses the pressing need for qualified law enforcement officers within the state. Now, we did streamline some things earlier on the county level with regard to those getting out of the military and the sheriff's department. And this is now through the Illinois Law Enforcement Standard Training Board. So very, very good. We're working with our Army National Guard, military police, Air National Guard, security forces as well with regards to their training. And the program expands to a number of other military occupational specialties that can translate into civilian careers. So always looking forward to helping out those that are transitioning out of the military with regards to, again, getting them gainfully employed, and certainly helping them out. And it's just quite nonsensical if they go through all this military training to make them go through another 640 hours of training. It's just got to be terrible. So they have to do some specific Illinois law training, a 2-day in-person sexual assault investigation course, a 40-hour mandatory firearms course with use of force instruction and training, Illinois certification exam, and anything else that ILETSB might think about. So if you know of anybody that wants to apply, ptv.illinois.gov. You can look for the application and instructions. And then what is coming on in Springfield this week? We leave tomorrow, there tomorrow till Friday. So we have what is called the Illinois Digital Educators Alliance idea. So we have a student advocacy day coming, bring students, teachers, and educational leaders from across the state to the Capitol to showcase how technology is transforming classrooms and preparing students for the future. IDEA is a statewide organization that supports innovation in education through professional development, networking, and policy advocacy. So certainly it is always wonderful to see these students in the Capitol. They bring everything from building robots to designing digital experiences, immersive digital experiences. They reflect their technical skills, collaborating, and it is founded on STEM. And then last week we honored our fallen police officers. This week we will honor our fallen firefighters at the Fallen Firefighter Memorial Service. It's a solemn and powerful tribute to the brave men and women who make the ultimate sacrifice by serving their communities. If you, I've been on a ride along with fire trucks, and it is always alarming to see individuals run into a fire. But the memorial, it's held every year, reminds us that every alarm answered and every life comes with a risk. So the names are engraved in memory of their service. So have to thank all our first responders, police, fire, military, who put their lives on the line every day. And speaking of fire, but this goes back to kind of my alderman years. It's very exciting to see these things happening in downtown Aurora. The Aurora Regional Fire Museum strategic plan was revealed, and they have some new initiatives aimed at preserving the region's rich firefighter history and expanding the museum's education reach. Now, if you've never visited it, it's really cool. It's housed in Aurora's original central fire station that was built in 1894 and was completely refurbished. And the museum is a living tribute to the evolution of the fire service. And it has antique fire engines, hands-on exhibits for kids, and certainly is a lot of fun. The new strategic plan includes updates that will enhance youth programming, broaden public access, and really deepen the museum's role in the city. So certainly check it out. And then, as I mentioned, Armed Forces Day, May 17th. As I had said this morning, it was a little bit of an intro. So myself, as a veteran, certainly appreciate Armed Forces Day. But again, my day as a veteran is in November. Armed Forces Day are those that are serving today, like my son and like my son-in-law. My son is still floating somewhere in the Pacific. My son-in-law is still overseas in Africa. So certainly they are there defending our country, wearing the uniform for our freedoms. So certainly it's really really important to honor them. So and then keep them in mind, send a care package, send a note. It's always important to let them know. And nowadays you can send a text. Now my son only gets my messages when he's in service, so I know he read a couple of them the other day and then he's back out. So certainly advocate for them while we talk about, and I mentioned this before, thank you for your service. Thank people for their service and actions. So, Blue Star Families is an organization that is there for families of individuals that are deployed. Certainly, get involved with the American Legion, get involved with veteran organizations in our community. That's the best way to say thank you for your service is by your actions. So certainly actions do speak louder than words, and getting involved in the military community is very important and is appreciated. So and then talked about some bills. What's in the news this week? We are looking at federal cuts to NPR and PBS. Could impact downstate Illinois. And you think, well, how could that impact downstate Illinois? Well, there are many stations that rely on funding to bring educational and cultural programming like WQPT in Moline and WEIU in Charleston, just to name a few. So we are looking at ways that we can protect state investments in public media platforms. But certainly, we are very concerned about public broadcasting, local journalism, making sure that everybody has access to um, educational and important programming in their communities. And they might miss it elsewhere. So it's not like here in our area where we have the Chicago market. Downstate, it's really important. And then we want to give a shout out to Mount Prospect native Will Bendelik for running the entire 416-mile length of Illinois, from Cairo to the Wisconsin border, and he did it in just 10 days. That's inconceivable to me, but about, 10 days, 41.6 miles a day on average. Certainly really just impressive and says a lot. As someone you know marked many miles, and when I was in the military, marked many miles, and still try to get some steps in. This is by far more than just a couple steps. So going the extra 416 miles to inspire pride and unity. So congratulations to him. And then another a little announcement. Um, Keep in mind, I love balloons, Mylar balloons in particular, uh, graduation, birthdays, but we certainly need to make sure that we are responsible. So, balloons that float up into the sky, they do come back down and they do get tangled up and they do cause issues. So, please keep all balloons fastened and inside. Balloon release parties, they cause a lot of issues with regards to not only them going up, but also when they come back down and they pop and they get ensnarled and tangled and the ribbons go everywhere. It's just a mess. However, Mylar balloons are more of a danger than regular balloons. And loose Mylar balloons, because they are metallic balloons, they can cause power outages, fires, extensive damage when they come in contact with electrical lines. So keep all balloons inside. And if you have some balloons outside, make sure they are tied down well, and then opt for non-metallic alternatives if you are outside. But certainly, let's celebrate responsibly and keep our communities safe. That is just so important. And then on May 6th, Aurora Mayor Richard Irvin presided over his final committee of the whole meeting. I served with Richard Irvin when I was an alderman, and he was an alderman at large. I never served when he was mayor. And certainly, many groups from the community gave him honor for his years of service, certainly as alderman at large and then as mayor. So I wish him again a great path forward in the future and wherever he may land up. So, I mean, I know he's a lawyer and he's with a law firm in Oak Brook. So I hope him the best for the future. And on the same vein, the city council has alderman at large seats that are needs to be filled. So unlike other alderman seats these represents the city as a whole rather than the single ward. One of the seats was current alderman at large John Lash, who was recently elected as the city's next mayor. So applications are now open to fill his seat. So it's a unique opportunity for a dedicated resident to help shape Aurora's future as a member of the legislative body. Please check out the official city information. Um, and then finally, Senior Services and the King County State's Attorney Office, in conjunction with the City of Aurora, has a workshop on May 15th called Empowering Seniors Against Scams. That's going to be at the Prisco Center, and the event will provide tools to recognize and stop scams that threaten financial security. And then we have Food Allergy Awareness Week. Certainly, you can download and share how to host a child with severe food allergies. It's a guide that certainly helps out to understand food allergies, and especially when it comes to anaphylactic shock. So make sure everything is home. Everything at home is safe for all children. And then parakeet rescue in DuPage County. Adopt a feathered friend. So in April, DuPage County Animal Services rescued 155 parakeets from overcrowded conditions. Thanks to their new real-life room, the birds were given immediate care, space, and medical attention, and they are now ready for adoption. So if you never had a parakeet and you want one, check out DuPage County Animal Services. And then May 10th, which was this past Saturday, was World Migratory Bird Day. It's a day to protect migratory birds and their habitats. So here in Illinois, we are on a major flyway. So we need to preserve our wetlands, plan for native species, and do all we can to support the birds. And then finally, we're going to wrap up right on a little bit early. Again, it was deadline week last week, so just moving bills to second. Watching bills in the Senate. The Senate has passed 48% of the bills the House sent them out of committee, and the House has passed 89% of the bills that we have gotten in from the Senate. So we're, passing more Senate bills than House bills, which is a little bit annoying. So and unfortunately, a couple of my bills have not gone the way they wanted to go. So hopefully those will get going with regards to passing bills to the governor. I mean, it has to go through both chambers. One of the bills that I just recalled that I wanted to talk to you about is allowing community colleges to offer four-year bachelor degree programs. In certain high demand fields, certainly robust discussion. Universities state that they are more equipped to do this. And of course, community colleges want to offer more services for students as well. So didn't quite advance out of committee, but certainly something that they are working on. So with that, let's see, don't forget about the Fallen Wall in Oswego. Yes, thank you, Roger. The Fallen Wall in Oswego is at the Village Hall. And if you have not gone to it, it is commemorative of our fallen military from pretty much Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom, Operation, all of those. They are, and I blank on the different operations that we had, but certainly those that paid the ultimate sacrifice is in Oswego. And you can go and see that at the Village Hall. They've had it before in the past, and it's a very moving remembrance of those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. So good morning, Roger and Bonnie. Thank you all, and congratulations on passing Carino law. We certainly do hope it will save lives. So thank you, Bonnie and Gabe, for tuning in, and everybody that is tuning in today. One of the things that from the federal level that we were able to work on is Asian carp funding that was temporarily frozen by the Trump administration. It just got released. So continue to fight Asian carp in our Great Lake. So we are looking at finishing out that project and certainly look forward to continuing to fight Asian carp. And then artificial intelligence. There was a bill, recording artists will soon have more protections from artificial intelligence replacing their voice or work under legislation in the House and the Senate. So former Rep and now State Senator Mary Edley Allen and State Representative Jennifer Gahn-Gertzowitz are working on a bill to protect recording artists from artificial intelligence replication. So we certainly, it's evolving so fast, but we need to evolve with our regulations and protections for artists who try to steal their work, pass it off as their own using artificial intelligence. So they worked with both the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists and the Motion Picture Association to come up with a legislation as these emerging platforms, technology platforms, emerge. There were no restrictions on AI models replicating a music artist's voice before the passage of the Digital Voice and Likeness Protection Act last year. So what are we doing now? We are updating the Digital Voice and Likeness Protection Act by clarifying terms of acceptable use and when digital replication agreements are unenforceable. So certainly that is, it's just so much goes on, and a lot of things that people don't understand, or they're just not tuned in on what the state is really looking at. And then certainly we are looking at, and unfortunately, our farmers were working with the federal government with regards to an environmental plan that would reduce fertilizers and certainly help the climate. Unfortunately, that money has been completely frozen and puts our farmers in a little bit of a bind because they're planning on these grants to uh, really allow them to transition off of fertilizer and be a little bit more environmentally conscious. Unfortunately, those grants have been canceled. So it was to the tune of $36 million was going to provide about $6 billion of relief for fertilizer because of these new products and new methods. But unfortunately, that is what's going on in the federal government today. And certainly, we're just going to see and continue to see what goes on in the federal government and what we can and cannot work with. But unfortunately, our farmers are a little stuck with regards to that program. So with that, next Coffee with Kiffy, we're going to have a guest speaker. So we have a guest speaker on quite a bit. So next week, we are going to have a discussion with Frank Gutierrez. He was actually in the Marines and the Army, a double veteran status, and he is an advocate for the military community since we are talking about military appreciation. He has over 20 years of service. So he founded Veteran Chambers of Commerce, an organization dedicated to empowering veterans through entrepreneurship and through business development and mentoring. So he's a steadfast voice for veterans' rights, pushing for access to benefits and economic opportunity. And certainly he's going to talk about his military service as it transitioned into civilian success. And so if you want to tune in next week, if you're a veteran, if you're a business owner, or someone who just wants to hear what he has to say, listen to the conversation. It's going to be very enlightening. As we know, veterans are a little bit more towards the entrepreneurial spirit than others, and just really excited to hear what he has to say. So, with that, I hope everybody has a wonderful Monday. It is May 12th, and we will hopefully have some good weather coming up this week. If it gets a little too hot, if you need to cool off, certainly you can always go to the library, or my office is open. Cooling centers aren't quite open, um, but you can always go to cool off. Uh, it's too warm. So it's going to be, I think, in the 80s a couple times this week. So certainly let us know. LIHEAP programs are to help with some of those energy costs for cooling and heating your house. So if you need to apply to that, let my office know as well. So with that, have a great day. Oh, and I do have a final reminder. Lyme disease. Lyme disease, we passed a resolution, joint resolution with Representative Swanson talking about Lyme disease. And believe it or not, yesterday I looked and I had a spot on my ear, which turned out to be a tick. I didn't even realize it was there. I didn't even feel it. I just saw it in the mirror. So I want to give a reminder about ticks, about Lyme disease, to make sure that if you're not feeling right, if you're woozy, check out the symptoms of Lyme disease. It's often underdiagnosed or not even tested for. But I did mowing the lawn. I got a tick on my ear, and I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys a quick reminder to watch out for ticks and Lyme disease. So take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great week, and we will see you next week on Monday with Frank Gutierrez. Have a good one.